What if I told you that the same Southern California cities that made people millionaires just 3 years ago are now financial traps waiting to destroy your wealth? While everyone is still dreaming of that perfect life under the palm trees, a silent disaster is unfolding across the region. Home prices that once seemed unstoppable are starting to crack, inventory is piling up, and buyers are walking away in record numbers. The median home price in some Southern California cities now requires an annual income of over $300,000 just to qualify for a basic mortgage. That means even doctors, lawyers, and tech workers are being priced out of the market. But here's the really scary part. The higher these prices climbed, the further they have to fall. Right now, as we speak, there are 10 Southern California cities where buying a home could be the worst financial decision of your life. These are places where the American dream has turned into a financial nightmare, where your down payment could disappear overnight, and where you might end up owing more than your home is worth. So which cities should you absolutely avoid in 2025? What warning signs are flashing red across Southern California? And most importantly, how can you protect yourself from making a $250,000 mistake? Stay with me because what you are about to discover could save you from financial disaster. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which Southern California markets are teetering on the edge of collapse and why smart investors are already running for the exits. Let me start with number 10 on our list, a city that represents everything wrong with Southern California real estate right now. Number 10, Riverside. Riverside was supposed to be the affordable alternative to Los Angeles. For years, people called it the place where you could still achieve the California dream without breaking the bank. Families moved here thinking they found the perfect balance between price and location. But in 2025, Riverside has become a cautionary tale about what happens when affordable becomes unaffordable overnight. The median home price in Riverside recently hit $575,000. Now think about that for a moment. $575,000 for a home in the Inland Empire, an hour away from the beach with summer temperatures that regularly hit 110 degrees. Just 5 years ago, you could buy the same house for around $300,000. But here's where it gets really concerning. Home prices in Riverside are now dropping 5 to 7% year over year. That means if you bought a median-priced home last year, you have already lost over $35,000 in value. And the decline is accelerating. The inventory situation in Riverside tells you everything you need to know about where this market is headed. Listings are up a staggering 55% compared to last year. When you have that much excess supply hitting the market, prices have nowhere to go but down. Homes that used to sell in days are now sitting for over 50 days, and over 35% of all listings have had multiple price cuts. Here's what makes Riverside particularly dangerous for buyers right now. The city built its recent growth on people who were priced out of coastal markets. But with mortgage rates over 6.5%, even Riverside is becoming unaffordable for most families. When your backup plan becomes too expensive, where do you go next? Add in the traffic nightmare of commuting to Los Angeles, the constant wildfire threats, and the lack of reliable public transportation, and you start to understand why buyers are thinking twice about Riverside. The era of buy now or be priced out forever is officially dead here. If you think Riverside sounds bad, wait until you hear about our number 9 city, where the situation is even more dire. Number 9, Santa Clarita. Santa Clarita used to represent the perfect suburban family life in Southern California. Master-planned communities, good schools, and a family-friendly atmosphere made it a magnet for people seeking space and value away from the urban core. But in 2025, Santa Clarita has become a perfect example of how rapid expansion can become a market's downfall. The median home price in Santa Clarita soared to around $750,000 during the recent boom. But now that figure is sliding fast, with analysts predicting an 8 to 12% price drop year over year. For the typical homeowner, that represents a brutal loss of $60,000 to $90,000 in equity. Think about what that means if you bought recently. You put down $150,000, thinking you were making a smart investment, and now you have lost over half of that down payment in less than 12 months. That is the kind of financial devastation that destroys families. The inventory surge in Santa Clarita is truly shocking. Listings are up 38% year over year, meaning there are far more homes on the market than interested buyers. Properties that once vanished in under a month are now sitting for 60 to 70 days, accumulating multiple price cuts as desperate sellers try to attract buyers in a rapidly cooling market. Here's the math that should terrify any potential Santa Clarita buyer. With mortgage rates near 7%, the monthly payment on an average home exceeds $5,000 before taxes and homeowners association fees. Add in property taxes of around 1.2% and rising insurance costs, and you are looking at monthly housing costs that can easily top $6,000. For a family to comfortably afford that payment, they would need a household income of over $200,000. How many families in Santa Clarita actually earn that much? Not nearly enough to support current home prices. Santa Clarita still has its family appeal, but the housing market is cracking under the weight of unsustainable growth and mounting financial pressure. The suburban dream is becoming a financial nightmare. Now let me tell you about number 8, where even higher prices are creating an even more dangerous situation. Number 8, Burbank. Known as the media capital of the world, Burbank seemed like it had everything going for it. Home to major studios like Warner Brothers and Disney, it was a vibrant hub of entertainment and an aspirational suburb. But in 2025, Burbank is discovering that relying too heavily on a single industry can be devastating when that industry starts to struggle. The median home price in Burbank soared to around $950,000 during the boom. But now those prices are sliding, with analysts predicting a 10 to 15% drop year over year. For homeowners, that translates to a brutal loss of $95,000 to $142,000 in value. Imagine putting down $200,000 on a Burbank home, thinking you were investing in a stable, entertainment industry town, only to watch your equity disappear as the market collapses. That is the reality facing many Burbank homeowners right now. The warning signs in Burbank are impossible to ignore. Inventory is up 40% year over year, and properties that once sold in under a month are now sitting for 60 to 70 days, with multiple price cuts. Sellers are getting increasingly desperate, slashing asking prices just to stay competitive in a market that is rapidly cooling. But here's what makes Burbank particularly vulnerable. The entertainment industry that built this city is going through massive changes. Streaming services are cutting costs, studios are laying off workers, and the easy money that once flowed through Hollywood is drying up. When your local economy depends on an industry that is downsizing, real estate prices tend to follow. The monthly payment on an average Burbank home now exceeds $6,000 when you include taxes and homeowners association fees. That requires a household income of well over $250,000. Even in the entertainment industry, those high-paying jobs are becoming increasingly rare. Burbank still has its charm and its Hollywood connections, but the housing market is fracturing under the weight of economic uncertainty and massive overvaluation. But if you think Burbank's problems are serious, wait until you see what is happening in our number 7 city. Number 7, Ventura. Ventura was supposed to be the perfect coastal alternative. Nestled between the Santa Ynez Mountains and the Pacific Ocean, it offered that laid-back, welcoming vibe that made buyers think they found the ideal spot for coastal living without the crazy prices of its southern neighbors. But in 2025, even Ventura's coastal charm cannot save it from market reality. The median home price in Ventura hit around $850,000 during the boom. But now that figure is sliding, with neighborhoods experiencing 3 to 5% price drops year over year. For the typical homeowner, that represents a loss of $25,000 to $42,000 in value. Here's what should alarm any potential Ventura buyer. Inventory is up 35% year over year, and homes that once sold in under a month are now sitting for 50 to 60 days with multiple price cuts. The market has completely shifted from a seller's market to a buyer's market, and sellers are getting desperate. The financial math in Ventura is becoming impossible for most families. With mortgage rates near 7%, the monthly payment on an average home exceeds $5,600 before taxes and insurance. When you add in property taxes and the high cost of coastal insurance, Monthly housing costs can easily exceed $7,000. But here's the really concerning part about Ventura. The city's economy is not diversified enough to support these price levels long term. Unlike Los Angeles or San Diego, Ventura does not have major tech companies, financial centers, or diverse industries paying the kind of salaries needed to afford these homes. Ventura still has its stunning location and relaxed atmosphere, but the housing market is discovering that charm alone cannot support unsustainable prices. The coastal dream is colliding with financial reality, and buyers are the ones who will pay the price. Speaking of expensive coastal markets, let me tell you about number 6, where the situation is even more extreme. Number 6, Long Beach. Long Beach was marketed as the more accessible entry point to the Southern California dream. This vibrant coastal city, with its diverse neighborhoods and unique blend of urban energy and beach appeal, attracted buyers who thought they were getting a good deal compared to other coastal markets. But in 2025, Long Beach is showing some of the most alarming signs of any market in Southern California. The median home price in Long Beach soared to around $720,000 in 2022. But now that figure is plummeting, with analysts predicting a devastating 10 to 15% price drop year over year. For homeowners, that translates to a brutal loss of $72,000 to $108,000 in value. Think about what that means for someone who bought recently. You thought you were getting into the market at a reasonable price, you put down your life savings, and now you are watching your equity disappear month by month. That is not just a financial loss, that is an emotional devastation that affects entire families. The inventory situation in Long Beach is truly frightening. Listings are up a staggering 60% year over year, meaning there are vastly more homes on the market than interested buyers. Properties that once vanished in under 3 weeks are now sitting for an agonizing 100 to 120 days, accumulating multiple deep price cuts. But here is what makes Long Beach particularly dangerous right now. Sellers are not just cutting prices slightly, they are slashing initial asking prices by $50,000 to $100,000 just to stay competitive. When you see that level of price cutting, you know the market is in serious trouble. The monthly payment on an average Long Beach home now exceeds $4,800 with 20% down before taxes and insurance. Add in Los Angeles County property taxes of around 1.25% and rising coastal insurance costs, and the total monthly burden can easily top $6,000. Long Beach still has its diversity and coastal appeal, but the housing market is not just cooling, it is heading toward a potential collapse that could devastate homeowners for years to come. But if you think Long Beach sounds risky, our number 5 city will shock you even more. Number 5, Pasadena. Pasadena has always been known for its historic charm, cultural institutions, and sophisticated atmosphere. Nestled at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains, it offered a refined urban lifestyle that attracted educated professionals and retirees. But in 2025, even Pasadena's prestigious reputation cannot protect it from the harsh realities of an overpriced housing market. The median home price in Pasadena consistently hovers around $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.1 million for the typical home. Even with Pasadena's undeniable appeal, that price point puts homeownership out of reach for all but the wealthiest buyers. Here's the math that should terrify anyone considering Pasadena. To qualify for a mortgage on a $1.1 million home, you need a down payment of at least $220,000. Then, with mortgage rates at 7%, your monthly payment alone exceeds $7,000 before taxes and insurance. When you add in property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs, the total monthly housing expense can easily exceed $9,000. That means you need a household income of well over $300,000 to comfortably afford the median home in Pasadena. But here is what makes Pasadena particularly vulnerable. The city's housing market has become completely disconnected from local income levels. The median household income in the Los Angeles area is around $85,000. When median home prices are 13 times median income, you have created an unsustainable bubble. The warning signs are already appearing in Pasadena. Inventory is building, homes are sitting longer on the market, and sellers are starting to cut prices. When a market is priced this far above what local residents can afford, it becomes dependent on external buyers, and that demand can disappear very quickly. Pasadena still has its cultural attractions and mountain views, but the housing market has reached levels that defy economic logic. When the correction comes, it could be severe. Now let me tell you about number 4, a city where the housing crisis has reached truly devastating levels. Number 4, San Diego. San Diego has always been seen as America's finest city. Perfect weather, beautiful beaches, and a laid-back lifestyle made it a magnet for people seeking the ultimate California experience. But in 2025, San Diego represents the most extreme example of how housing costs can completely destroy the middle class. The median home price in San Diego hovers around $875,000. For a middle-class family earning the median household income of roughly $85,000, this price point is not just unaffordable, it is completely impossible. Let me break down the devastating math for you. A 20% down payment on an $875,000 home requires $175,000 in cash. How many middle-class families have that kind of money sitting around? Almost none. But it gets worse. With mortgage rates at 7%, the principal and interest payment alone exceeds $5,800 per month. Add in property taxes of around 1.1%, which adds $800 monthly, plus insurance premiums for coastal and wildfire-prone properties that can easily cost $500 to $1,000 monthly. And you're looking at total housing costs that consume over 95% of a middle-class family's gross income. That is not just unaffordable, that is mathematically impossible. A family cannot spend their entire income on housing and still eat, drive, or pay for anything else. Here's what makes San Diego's situation particularly tragic. This is a city built on diversity, innovation, and opportunity. But the housing market has become so expensive that teachers, firefighters, nurses, and police officers, the people who make communities function, can no longer afford to live there. The competition for the few available homes remains fierce, with higher income earners, cash buyers, and investors pricing out local families. San Diego has created a system where only the wealthy can afford to live in paradise, while everyone else is forced to leave or struggle with impossible financial burdens. San Diego still has its perfect weather and stunning beaches, but the housing market has become a machine for destroying middle-class wealth. The California dream has become a California nightmare. But if you think San Diego's affordability crisis is bad, wait until you hear about number 3. Number 3, Irvine. Irvine was supposed to represent suburban perfection. This meticulously planned city in Orange County, with its top-tier schools and corporate campuses, was marketed as the ideal place for families seeking safety, education, and upward mobility. But in 2025, even Irvine's carefully crafted image cannot hide the fact that its housing market has become dangerously overvalued. The median home price in Irvine reached a jaw-dropping $1.6 million at the peak. Even after recent declines to around $1.5 million, that still represents a loss of over $100,000 for recent buyers. When you are dealing with price levels this extreme, even small percentage drops translate to devastating dollar amounts. But here's what makes Irvine particularly dangerous for buyers right now. The monthly payment on a median-priced home exceeds $10,000 before property taxes and homeowners association fees. Add in Irvine's notoriously high homeowners association fees, which can run $1,500 per month or more, and you're looking at monthly housing costs that can easily exceed $12,000. To comfortably afford that payment, a family would need a household income of well over $400,000. Even in Orange County, with its concentration of high-tech and professional jobs, that income level puts you in the top few percent of earners. The inventory situation in Irvine is sending clear warning signals. Listings are up 35% year over year, and homes are sitting an average of 55 days on the market. In a city where properties used to sell in days, that represents a fundamental shift in market dynamics. Here's the really concerning part about Irvine. The city's housing market was built on the assumption of endless appreciation, driven by its reputation for excellence. But when prices reach levels that even high-earning professionals cannot afford, that appreciation becomes unsustainable. Irvine still has its planned communities and excellent schools, but the housing market has become a speculation vehicle disconnected from economic reality. When markets reach these extreme levels, the corrections can be swift and severe. Now let me tell you about number 2, where the situation has become truly extreme. Number 2, Palm Springs. Palm Springs was supposed to be the desert oasis where dreams came true. This iconic city, with its mid-century modern architecture and resort-like lifestyle, attracted retirees and second-home buyers with promises of year-round sunshine and luxury living. But in 2025, the Palm Springs dream has turned into a financial mirage. The median home price in Palm Springs soared to $750,000 during the recent boom. But now that inflated value is unraveling as the reality of desert living collides with economic pressures. The market that seemed immune to normal rules is discovering that gravity applies to all real estate eventually. Here's what makes Palm Springs particularly vulnerable right now. The city's economy depends heavily on tourism, second homes, and retirees, all segments that are extremely sensitive to economic uncertainty. When people start cutting back on discretionary spending, Palm Springs feels it immediately. The inventory surge in Palm Springs tells the whole story. Homes are now sitting for 90 to 100 days on the market, with sellers resorting to desperate incentives and massive price reductions. The prevalence of high-end communities with homeowners association fees of $500 to $1,500 monthly, combined with astronomical utility costs for air conditioning and pool heating, means the true cost of ownership is becoming unsustainable. But here's the really scary part about Palm Springs. Much of the recent buying activity was driven by investors in the short-term rental market. As regulations tighten and profitability disappears, these investors are trying to exit the market all at once, flooding the market with inventory. For retirees who thought they were buying their dream home, Palm Springs has become a financial nightmare. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, and homeowners association fees can easily add $2,000 per month to your housing costs, even after you pay off your mortgage. Palm Springs still has its desert beauty and resort amenities, but the housing market has become a cautionary tale about what happens when speculation replaces fundamentals. The desert dream is turning to dust. But as devastating as Palm Springs has become, our number 1 city represents the ultimate example of how even the most prestigious markets can collapse. Number 1, Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills has always represented the ultimate in luxury, glamour, and exclusivity. This legendary city was thought to be completely immune to market downturns because of its global prestige and ultra-wealthy buyer base. But in 2025, Beverly Hills is facing a brutal reality check that is shocking even the most experienced real estate professionals. The median home price in Beverly Hills soared to an eye-popping $3.5 million, having climbed over 40% in recent years. That price level puts Beverly Hills in a category occupied by only a handful of markets worldwide. But even at these extreme price levels, the market is starting to crack. Here's what should terrify anyone considering Beverly Hills real estate. High-end properties are now seeing significant price reductions of $250,000 to $500,000 or more. When sellers are cutting prices by $500,000, you know the market is in serious trouble. The inventory situation in Beverly Hills tells a story of growing desperation. Properties are sitting 80 to 90 days on the market, with a high percentage requiring multiple price cuts. The ultra-wealthy buyers who once competed for these properties are becoming more selective, more cautious, and more willing to walk away. But here's what makes Beverly Hills particularly dangerous as an investment right now. The cost of ownership goes far beyond the purchase price. Property taxes alone can exceed $30,000 annually. Insurance premiums for high-value properties are skyrocketing. Maintenance costs for luxury homes can easily run $10,000 per month or more. When you combine a $3.5 million purchase price with carrying costs that can exceed $50,000 per year, you need serious wealth just to maintain your investment. And that wealth is becoming more scarce as economic uncertainty grows. Beverly Hills is also seeing an investor retreat, particularly in the high-end condominium market where rental yields have become negative. When even billionaires are having trouble making the numbers work, you know a market has gone too far. For a city that once defined luxury real estate success, Beverly Hills has become a symbol of how even the most exclusive markets can become financial traps when prices lose touch with reality. The bottom line. So there you have it, the 10 Southern California cities where buying a home in 2025 could be the worst financial decision of your life. From Riverside's suburban sprawl to Beverly Hills' ultra-luxury excess, these markets all share the same dangerous characteristics. Prices that have risen far above what local economies can support, inventory that is building rapidly, and buyers who are walking away in record numbers. The common thread connecting all these cities is simple. They all forgot that housing markets are ultimately about supply, demand, and affordability. When prices rise faster than incomes for too long, markets become unstable. When speculation replaces fundamentals, bubbles form. And when bubbles burst, the people who bought at the peak pay the price. What does this mean for you? If you are thinking about buying in any of these markets, proceed with extreme caution. Do not let fear of missing out drive you to make a decision that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Remember that in real estate, timing matters, and right now might be the worst possible time to buy in these overheated markets. For sellers in these markets, the window for getting premium prices is closing rapidly. If you need to sell, price aggressively from the start rather than chasing the market down with multiple price cuts. And for investors, these markets offer a masterclass in how speculation can destroy wealth. The same cities that made people rich 3 years ago could make them poor today. The Southern California dream is not dead, but it has become dangerous. Stay informed, stay cautious, and remember that sometimes the best investment decision is the one you do not make. What do you think about these Southern California housing market trends? Have you seen similar warning signs in your local area? Let me know in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe for more real estate market analysis that could save you from making costly mistakes. Because in today's market, knowledge is not just power, it is financial protection.